Sorry, we were absent. Deal me with family stuff. But me and Tiny are back here for episode 28 of RetasoCast.
Yeah.
Right, welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome
thank
back.
you.
We're welcoming you
Well-
back to your home.
Thank
Your
you.
house.
Thank you for taking care of our house.
Yeah, Tia did a great job with the plants.
I know. I only killed 2 plants.
A world record. Yeah. Well, we have a guest today. To cap off. May is mental awareness.
Mental health
Mental
awareness.
health awareness.
Okay. Mental awareness.
Mental health awareness ba? Mental health month.
Awareness.
Oh,
Nay
okay.
awareness of it.
Sige, sige.
So nami kanang let's give.
90%. Yeah.
Let's give her a magis welcome. Kay former counselor siya sa Ateneo and now she's a counselor sa UP Cebu. Miss Jazz.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much. I love this place.
Thank you.
So, how are we gonna start our mental health episode?
Really no.
Are we gonna bombard her with
Unsa man usually ang opening line nimo, Miss Jazz, if na mo student na mosulod sa imong office?
Oh, how are you?
That's it.
You again?
Oh, how are you doing?
As a one Tana, individually
Yes.
starting from you.
How are you? Who's gonna start that?
See ya.
I'm putting it together, but I may look calm, but I'm 100% losing my shit. Tiny, would you kindly?
Me? I'm good. I'm chill. I'm propping up Manny. Yeah. So I'm okay. I'm good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm okay because I'm avoiding everything that makes me sad.
Wow.
Is there a reason for
Oh, I
that?
see.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Because it makes me sad, so you avoid it. That's the thing, right?
Is that a
He's
healthy coping
It's
mechanism?
brilliant.
You'll
No,
never
it
deal with it.
Let's go to Ernest first.
Napo ko'y mainom, so I'm good.
What a loaded question. First of all, thank you for that question, Miss Psychiatrist.
But yeah, I ask them usually that one. How are you? And then it leads up to many things. Yes.
Can we ask sa imo the same question po? How are you doing?
I'm actually excited.
Nice.
Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but like this is my first time
Ah.
doing this live and
It's
the
okay.
podcast.
It's only gonna hurt like, a little. Sorry.
How would you like respond to like different responses man? So like if na ka na mga dili kayo. Well, I guess it's different sa guidance counselor, right? Kay like na may uban na ka ng if it's therapy nga sessions, they're like I'm okay, I guess. Cuz like kana like dili kayo sila open to sharing
Well,
first.
usually if we ask them how are you doing and then they answer, so we want to substantiate it with more info. So what makes you feel that way? Okay. So let's say you're saying that you're okay. What makes you okay, Pia? So something like that. So yeah. So yeah. What makes you feel okay?
What's the worst thing someone can say to how are you feeling?
Usually they just say I'm okay, but then as a counselor, I don't accept usually just an okay answer. So we ask for more details really, and then you realize now they're not okay actually.
You're gonna
They're
try
just
again.
saying because some people just say just to get it okay, just to get this person off my back. I'll just say I'm okay, but I'm not. So something like that, or maybe they're not yet ready to like or disclose more or to share more. So they just say I'm okay. But when you ask, what makes you feel okay? So parang they're forced to think. How am I really feeling? Something like that.
Mas like trick question.
We're learning the
Know
like
you.
guidance counselor moves.
Magamit po ni sa itong mga future guests. Pwede natin ganaon. How are you doing?
Can I ask, like, how long have you been like a guidance counselor?
I really started 2014, like officially for a year. And then, but because
Asa ka nag-start?
I really started with Sacred Heart.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I really
So
started
grade school
there.
students.
Yeah,
yun.
grade school. And then 2017, I got my license. So that's when I can really say na officially a counselor. Because,
But they still let you guidance counsel in Sacred Heart without the license?
we have a supervisor who's licensed. So you can do that because there's actually a shortage of counselors. So Yeah, we're only around 3,000 or 4,000 plus in the country. So, and there's actually a very big gap. There's a lot of available items, but no personnel to fill in because of the requirements. So you have to finish your masters.
But about mental health awareness and then combating all the problems that comes with the pandemic. For you, Miss, ano sa mga usual na mga kanang issues na ma-meet nimo?
Last year, actually, we offered free online counseling services. So the usual concerns that really comes up was more of the anxiety. They were feeling anxious because it was really full of uncertainty. So they don't know, parang like all of a sudden your routine gets thrown away, everything changes. So parang they don't know what will happen to themselves, to their families, to their future. So parang they were at a loss of what to do. So I think
mga college students ni sila.
actually mixed because when we offered the free counseling services, it was
Unsa ganina nga project? Para
Cebu, that was Cebu COPS, Cebu Counselors Online Psychological and Emotional Support for COVID-19. So that's Cebu COPS.
Medyo taas pero
Yeah, so that's why we use Cebu COPS. So that was a very conscious effort to name it because we wanted something that denotes thriving ba. So Cebu COPS, like that. Instead of focusing on the issues, it's more of we want to strengthen, to focus on the strengths, the thriving na aspect. So yeah, so we actually we actually made it with together with my former workmates sa Sacred Heart. And then, so it was really open to different individuals. So it's actually mixed. There are students, there are working sa workforce. There are even senior citizens. Yeah, so we had mga 60, 70 na mga because especially sila because they're not allowed to go out. Diba?
Mga
So
seniors?
mga senior citizens. So parang they were parang limited at home. So nawala sa ilang other routines na. There are some na who wants to go outside, diba? Mag-shopping ba sila?
Mag-chismis sa gawas.
Oo. And then
Also
nawala na
Discord
siya.
lang.
So nawala siya na aspect. So more of really letting them get back on their feet lang kanang usually. Especially po mostly kanang difficulty sleeping. Kaya lots of people doesn't involve
Senior citizen. Ano bang melatonin dyan?
So I think really anxiety, difficulty sleeping, really, and anxiety of getting the symptoms. So actually there were some na they come to us even sharing their parang lab results. Then so we had to tell them na because na anxious na sila if they're getting COVID, but yes, I'm okay, these are my lab results. Pero wala siya nag-show of COVID na results. It was more of other results niya. So I told her na para ma-clear sa imong mind na hindi ka mag-think so much about it, you have to face it eventually. So if you want to, you can take the swab test, you can meet with the doctor. Then we even shared links na mga online doctors. Kaya naman to yung mga I think Cebu doctors, so we had to link them up. So that's what we do really, mag-link nila, mag-refer nila.
So those are the people na maka-prescribe you sila drugs?
Yeah, so kay mga doctors yun sila. Yeah. Because we cannot give them assurances or anything kay di man in the medical field exactly. So we might do more harm than good. So we have to really refer them to the proper na professional. So kana more of siguro one way na we assisted them was more of trying to get them back on their feet, so more of rebuilding their routines, schedules. Yeah, kay since the disrupt mo siya tanan, so we had to let them make a routine or a schedule considering sa pandemic, what they can do at home. And I think personally, that's something that really helped me. Kaya ako sa more sa kung na-anxious yun, like before, wala ka na out of place ko, or then I had to deal with it, and then, I think what I fixed first is really my sleeping. Okay, I really had problems with the sleeping side myself. So, I scheduled my sleeping time. Now, sleep ko 11, and then I wake up at 7. So, I had to train my body ba na, okay, you have to sleep, ganyan na. And then, from 7, okay, plan your day, mag-work ka, ganyan na. So, somehow, once I got that routine, I was able to do things na like sa work, I was able to focus na even
Compartmentalize
if I'm
na.
at home. Yeah, so
Nice.
I think the structure lang yun. no?
Structure.
Just
What
give
a
the
word.
structure.
Compartmentalize.
Speaking of structure and kanang routine, essentially murag moro mo pod ni among gibuhat karon.
This is rittenary for Ernest.
Oh, ano ako? Wala din ni naka-help sa inyong lives at any kuan.
Yeah, we have friends.
So it's the friendship.
Yeah.
Tama.
We're doing this for you.
I feel good that my Kuya EJ feels good.
Yeah.
Di kay mo po diyan usa ka problems sa kanang pandemic isolation. So if di na kay ka isolated then
here
everything's
for
Anong
you.
ka?
We're here for you, Ernest.
She said she looked like a starving child in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh my god.
Struggle sa jud to siya ang isolation, especially for most na really away from their families. But the good thing right now is there's technology. So, we really encourage them na get in touch really with your friends.
Voice
Go
calls.
Messenger. Yeah,
Oh
voice
man, I
calls.
remember that. Like, because we have a org and a group, and we would all just voice chat, and then we'd all use the stickers.
Yeah.
That was the best part, the stickers. I
Filters
think.
man siguro to.
Oh, the filters. Yeah, the filters.
Yeah, I remember me and my friends said we actually almost every day may mag-video call. To the point na even mag-grocery me together.
Nice.
Kaya we're mga religious people as well as spiritual. Pero yeah, we even nag-grocery me together while nag-video call. Pero yeah, nilasad siya because of course different ways to cope. So naiwan who cope spiritually or emotionally.
My
so,
family
different
does that.
ways.
Mag-grocery sila every morning together. Mapa sa US ang mga other members.
Eh kuan lang nila, live lang nila.
It's better than massing like live, I guess.
Oh.
Maka-mass, Miss Jazz.
There was a time na naka-attend ko, but then because I think there was a point na, I think early this year na nag-surge. Nating surge of COVID cases. So, my brother kay is actually also a doctor. So, nag-remind siya na, ay naman pagkatutog simbahan mo. So, kaya ma-overwhelm na niya ang mga hospitals. So, we opted na lang for mga online masses. So, lately, wala na ko nakago actually physically. But, there are times na I can attend masses online. Pero di na siya nga naka-free.
I thought the Lord was here.
That's
Points to my
exactly.
chest.
Naman ko video makita naman sila where you're pointing.
The Lord was here.
It's been in here all along.
Pero daghan ba pod sa kanang katong mga call-ins ninyo nga kanang niingon pod sila nga kuwang na sa ila. Kay di ba bawal man gid ang kuan adto niya. For the masses mostly daghan ba tigsimbag yun sa Cebu. Nabay nagsipangita og
O
kuan.
mga masses.
Oh, like kana bang spiritual kuha nila unsaon na nila pagkuha ng inana nga routine.
Actually, we sa counseling, we're very careful to spiritualize, kay, kay we understand na lahi-lahi man gud ang mga religion sa mga clients. So not everyone is Catholic. Pero if they share na mag-pray sila grocery or let's say kanang makahelp sa nila mag-pray, then we encourage them na if that's something that's helping them to cope, then we encourage them go continue with that. Okay, of course we bank on their strengths man, and if that's something na helping them out, then amo gid sila encourage to really continue with that. Pero dili kayo sila mag-speak about it, but kana if mo na sila mag-pray sila, then okay, that's good. That's if that's really helping you out. But in terms of like asking for masses, wala ra kaayo naka-mention.
Sa spiritual side nila na wala ra sila ikuan pod. Wala kay nangita.
Wala ra, so for more of really ilang emotions
Ah,
at
emotional,
the time,
yeah.
kanang mga anxiety nila. Then at that time sad kay I don't know, pero daghan sad kay di ba we let them choose kinsa na counselor. So timing maybe because kami ang mag younger looking siguro na counselors. So daghan sad yung mga those nag-undergo breakups. So during the pandemic.
Oh my God. Oh my
So
God.
mo to
Wala na trigger.
Relate here?
Are you one of them?
Oh my God, yes.
Ayun. So dati mga nag-undergo breakups during the quarantine. So and
What was it like for them? Were they super stressed out?
they just really wanted someone I can really want to talk kay dili sad sila ka-sleep kana usually dili sa ka-sleep
Di makatulog sa
Ang ila dapat sa kanang counseling is like someone will listen to you cry.
Yeah.
Because it would be so embarrassing if you do that with your friends. Like, yuck.
Really? You can cry with
Also,
me.
you've been crying in front of us. It's the contained version of.
You cried once because you lost your phone.
When was that? That's like all the time.
All the time she loses the phone.
So why are you inhibited from crying with us about your
No, but like mas maayo with like a therapist because like there's no judgment,
What?
you know.
Okay.
Basically, they're pay. That's what my therapist told me. You're paying us to like listen to you.
Yeah, I think it also comes kay sometimes when you share with your friends parang some of I'm not generalizing pero namgay some na who feels the need to give an advice but diba, well for us kasi we against sa mo actually mo give advice but if the client wants no, or let's say mag-ask of suggestions so we can give suggestions but we don't tell them oh you should do this and that okay ang premise is it's their life. So, you let them make the decisions for themselves. You can only suggest. Kana. But in the end, they do, sila gihapon ang mubuhat sa mga decisions nila, silang actions. So, whatever it is that they choose to do, na accountability from their end. It's better man good that way kasi I'm like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this. Or you can just suggest like na, okay, you can try this, then let me know if it works. And if not, then we'll find something else that works. So, more of trial and error gid siya because dili gid siya one size fits all.
Basta kay ma-express lang nila ilang mga ligot-got. So,
ma-validate.
Oh, so, okay, ganahan lang gid mo sulti. Like, mo share lang gid sila. So,
ito ba
just
yan
listen.
What? I always listen, even if kanang.
He always
Insulti ba?
shares. He always shares all the time.
oh, gani, to us.
I'm a very bad oversharer.
Go get a therapist.
So, yun yung buhatan sa kanang mga cases na siguro mo ka nag, you know, try to help them, but nothing is working, so.
Actually, najud nga na case na we've been seeing, I've been seeing the client kid for how many sessions na sometimes very long gani among sessions, but then eventually we're in the end wala gihapon. So I think I always remind them lang na, of course, you let them see the consequences lang sa siguro. So let's say, if you choose to continue this, these are the possible consequences. So, are you okay living with that? Okay. Are you okay continuing with that? So, then, but the choice is up to you because it's your life. I cannot decide for you. I cannot do it for you. So, just letting them know kung sa consequences and actions. If they choose to continue doing that.
Is there a group na kanang age group na pinaka-vulnerable when it comes to the pandemic right now? Like young adults, working adults, or
I guess it's actually different kay lahi-lahi sa ng situations. Like katong especially karon with there's the financial crisis would brought about the pandemic. So I think it depends on siya kay there are many things like naay uban naka-experience of loss of family members. Yan nasa naka-experience of mga loss of kanang mga jobs, economic. So it depends actually on the different factors ba. Pero I think usually kana siguro mga those na who's usually at home most of the time more wala kay exposure sa gawas. Kaya I can remember ng mga younger kids na more di ba they cannot go out gihapon like 15 and below. Like I remember na ako friend na ni-mention siya na kung pagumangkon kay wala gikapoy na gito siya like din na siya ka go out tinga na ba. So so you have to keep them entertained gihapon but at the same time nag-learn sa sila something na make sure nasa sila social group nga na. So,
na ba mo younger nga mga kuan to? Nga ni-avail ana?
I think the youngest that we had, for me personally, that I had was 16 years old.
16.
Pero there was, not the parents na actually ni ask. Pero wala sila ni push through because I told them na, yeah, we can do the online, but you have to be there kay we need your consent kay
better.
so we need the consent. Actually, sa online counseling before we started, we really let them fill out an informed consent form, meaning like
the parent fills it out?
The clients themselves. If adults na sila 18 and up, mo fill out sila adult, just to make sure na you ask or you seek counseling from your own free will. Na wala ka gipugos, and then we let them know nasa dito ang part like unsa ang limitations, what is counseling. So at least they know what to expect, how long is it. Yeah, if you have na kay mga concerns in terms of confidentiality, unsay limits sa confidentiality, ganun. So we let them know everything about what's going on, what's to happen. And then they mo sign sila sa form. Then if minor, we have to let the parents sign. Okay, yeah. We have to consider that kung sa minors kung sila. But yeah, katong sa ko 16 years old. Oo. That's the youngest so far.
Okay, kuan online.
Oh yeah, speaking
So-
of, we have two people watching.
Amo?
Hi!
No.
Quartz
here.
is here.
One of
Hey,
you.
Quartz.
One of that is you, right?
One of them is time.
Hi,
One of
Quartz.
them is me. I'm keeping track of Quartz.
I think pwede nimo ma-share po.
I've shared,
sige,
and then
sige.
I've sent people the link.
Ay, sure lang.
Nice.
Now, question. Like you say, na murag, sometimes you will encourage religion if it's a good coping mechanism for the patient. But are there ever cases, Jod, where religion is the thing that's causing the distress of the client nimo?
Personally, wala ko na experience so far in terms of religion causing it really for them. Because I think when they come to us, they're so absorbed sa ilang own concerns yata, ilang own problems ba. So di pa nila ma-see ang other aspects or other factors. So more of, kung sa it's everything is more, I just want to fun lang. Immediate release or immediate relief. But in terms of religion causing that, so far wala ba yan? Yeah, so far.
I think sa koan pod murag mainly sa amo mga listeners katong giingon na mga murag duol sa mga creatives or sa mga artists nabay kanang murag artist or creative specific nga mga concerns sa imong mga client, like kanang patabang sila sa on pag cope sa
Not being very productive.
kanang
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
But there's a pandemic going on. What am I gonna do?
It's like
kay kami diri tulo mi with bands siya ako lahi-lahi pa na siya nga bands so
and
yeah wala gi
we've been doing
Oh.
nothing.
It's like, I'm used to it. My band's not doing it. We started recording na, but the pandemic like a month right
like,
after.
How do you cope with the thought or the fact as writers or as video artists that other people are doing more than you during the pandemic? Like, they're so fucking
Napoy ni
productive.
thrive ba ng
They've
mga tao.
thrived. Or they're dealing with problems, but they're still doing so good. And how do you cope with that?
Like, meron siya kanang anxiety pod na kanang, if I'm not doing anything, I'm not worth anything.
yeah.
Actually, with the pandemic, daghan gid kay siya effects no? Because of course, since honestly, cliche man kami na we're all unique individuals, pero because of the pandemic, it really brought out different reactions yun. And sometimes people ask us na may sakto ba ni ako ang reaction to this? Sakto ba ko din? I was like, we're in a pandemic. There's no right way to react to it. So there's no like, it's a pandemic, you should do this and do that. No, whatever you're feeling, that's okay. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. So it's okay. Good kung ingana yung reaction. Just accept na okay, you've done that. You're feeling that. So it's good na naka-recognize ka na. So in terms of creatives, I guess I think one of the na-hit sa yun ang kanina industry, especially karon when we talk about kind of creative industry, daghan mo siya ng music, arts, and all. So, like karon, wala na mga concerts, mga gigs, no? Wala na gyud siya. Like, bisa mga clubs, mingaw kaayo. Then,
why events good
Yeah, wala events.
Like
Sulod jud kayo.
happenings.
Like, ang even ka ng mga exhibits,
Oh.
diba? Sa malls, diba? So, it's a way to gather ba, pero wala na siya na aspect. But, I think some people make up for it in other ways. Like example, they do it online. Yeah, I know na uban mga mag-online exhibit no. Pero lahir sa jud siya if you gather as one. So, like in terms of concerns, I think more of ang concern nato niya na this was a student actually, but more of feeling insecure with her work. Kana ba? So, because when I look at their work and maayo kaayo sila than me, or I don't feel like ni level up ko. So really more of encouraging them na as an artist, I think what helps would be feedback. So, try working with them, asking them, how did you do this? Get their thoughts. Ano sa ilang mga techniques na you work on? Okay, if it might work for you as well, but you have to own it na imuhang own flavor sad. Na not necessarily na you have to copy everything, but it can work. You can adapt it. And then more of the confidence siguro with their work. So when we talk about confidence, kay really it's more of practice, magud. Like you become more confident the more you interact, the more you try, the more you experience. So one way to fake confidence is to practice. Like example kanang mag-practice na kag mga scripts sa imong head or mag-practice.
Do it all the time.
Diba? So, diba, like, if you do not know what to say, then practice what you're going to say, diba? No? Pero just deliver it na more casual or sad. Pero nag-prepare na di ka down no, sa mong head. So, I think kana siguro akong experience in terms of like more of the insecurities in hong work as an artist.
Oh man, I have so many insecurities
So
of
much-
my non-work work that doesn't
It's just
exist.
like, hey, let's fight about a problem that hasn't happened. Like, what if in 2 years I don't want to have kids? What? How, I'm supposed to deal with that now?
Ran ba sad ganyan ka ng self-esteem issues sad sa? I like what you said na kanang it's just practice lang yun ang confidence. But I guess like naapoy ka ng self-esteem issues and then anxiety pod na kanang if you do things wrong, people are gonna judge you for it. So like naapoy na.
Yeah, usually that's what I would like to consider myself a creative. Usually that's always what stops you. Na kanang ang akong buhaton is like not good enough, and then like since it's not gonna be good enough, dili na ako
You don't try.
buhaton. And then it's I don't know.
But the
What was I
question
gonna
is,
say?
what if it's good enough?
What if it works?
Do you know?
Do you know?
But you will never know, Bayani, if you don't try. What if it goes in a better direction than it is? Diba?
That always reminds me of like one of my favorite panels sa kanang Sandman nga series na siya if she was dreaming and then he was like at the edge of a cliff and it was like I'm gonna fall, save me, and then the dream was like so what if you fall? Well, like it's either you're gonna fall or you might fly because mo na kanang
Wow.
idea
It's like
niya.
the worst thing to say to someone like on the ledge. So what if you cut your wrist? You
What if
might.
you fall?
What if the blood stays in there?
Pero yeah, because personally, even though I'm a counselor, no, I'm not perfect, I also experience mga anxiety. I overthink a lot actually, and actually I see a psychologist myself, no, and then there was a time na I had this concern, but more of like, mga thoughts, more overthinking, and then usually a psychologist will. So okay, what if that happens? No, whatever you're thinking, what's the worst thing that will happen if that happens? So I was like, mo continue ra gyapon ko. O di ba? Mo continue mo gyapon ka. So something like that. So sometimes especially that works if you're kanang masuberan lang kag kanang overthink bitaw. So she will really ask me, what's the worst thing that can happen? So let's say if dili na nimo ma-achieve, what's the worst thing that can happen? Then I'll just say, I'll just try again. Diba? So it's parang it puts things into perspective lang ba na, oh yeah, no, I'm so caught up in all the emotions na like, oh my God, nag-overthink. And then they just ask that question sometimes. And then we're like, yeah, bitaw, no? Continue.
Do you ever feel cheated na mo na ang tubag niya? Like, I don't know what to say to this. What's the worst that can happen?
Ayan. Pero, yeah, there's din ako ma-realize actually na bitaw sometimes kanang when I have clients, of course, they really go ma-overwhelmed gid sila. So, dili sila makakita og other perspective. And being in that situation na ako ang client, maka-understand ko na bitaw no, the answer is simple, but because overwhelmed ka sa imong emotions, dili na nimo ma-see ang other aspect. Dili nimo makita ang other factors. Bitaw no. Something like that.
So,
that-
kanang catastrophic thinking na well, just like you just
mga
think
shoulds,
Yeah.
I think. More of I think na ako yung mga ought na shoulds. Should.
Speaking of oughts and shoulds, like, you know, there are oughts and shoulds that you should do, you should be able to achieve at a certain age, and it's been put on hold because of the pandemic. Yeah, how do you deal with that kind of, like, is it an anxiety or, like, how do you cope with that
Expectations.
expectations?
Well, if I were to build on what my psychologist mentioned, what if you are not able to achieve that now? What's the worst thing that could happen?
It's like, damn it.
Kami
know
tawagin
this
sa cop out, no? Kada kadugayan.
My mom's worst thing that can happen is mag-pray ka na lang. That's what I hate. We're like, Mom, I'm really having a big problem. It's like, alam mo nak, mag-pray ka na lang muna. It's like, give me solutions! That's the script!
most na life just goes on. Like, even if di naman mo achieve nothing, life will go on and you'll have other opportunities
Even
to
if
like
duha lang
to
kabuk ang viewers. Pero man,
the next life will have more people
One
in
viewer.
it.
It's right here, si Tiny.
Let's acknowledge our new guest, si May Senacom. Hi, May!
Hi, hi.
Hi.
May hapon.
Ask us something if you want.
If you guys have questions about mental health, how are you coping with the pandemic? Are you okay?
Bitaw, i-comment lang sa below.
Mas
Basahon ng
dagan,
tayo.
mas dagan ba nag-pick up og hobbies for the pandemic?
Yeah, I think because although ang pandemic gave us time to na-disrupt atong routines, but it gave us time to slow down a bit.
Tayo.
But because but because of that, people found ways lang po to cope in different aspects. So ang uban, like some of my clients, they really go into sila to gardening, kada mga plantitos.
Kani mga 50% ra ni before pre-pandemic.
This was pre-pandemic, this psychosis.
I have more plans now. Just wait until we tour downstairs.
Hey, Pamela.
Ang some goes to arts and crafts, may hobbies,
Biking. Ako nang
biking,
mga
exercise.
cyclist karon.
Unsa man dyan ang matabang sa mga hobbies when it comes to mental health?
It gives you parang sa mga it's somehow parang more siya refresher. It gives you time to pause, to just to relax. And I think that's very important in everything. Okay, when we talk about mental health, no, if I were to really let's say at this point maglisod ka cope, you feel like you've done everything. I would really suggest going back to the basic. And basic is really nutrition, eat well.
Wow.
Yes.
That's gonna be a no for me. You got anything else?
Yeah. The basics really is really nutrition, eat well, exercise. And
Wow.
then
Exercise.
So, and then exercise is something that you really do consciously for your mental health. Aside siya from physical activity, no, na okay, di mo kailangan ka musaka sa stairs because you have to go up this apartment. That's physical activity, but that's not exercise. So, exercise is really conscious effort gid siya to make you feel good, to make you feel healthier.
Because exercise gives you endorphins, Benny.
Exactly.
Care for it.
Endorphins are feel good.
Dolphins.
I think I'm allergic.
Endorphins.
Allergic na siguro
Feel
ako ng
good gid siya.
dolphins.
Naglibog ko sa if it's a hormone or it's a neurotransmitter. Pero maka-feel, kabantay mo if, I don't know, kanang experience mo more run, and sometimes it gives you a high. So it gives you a natural high ba?
Blackout.
Gives me high blood siguro.
So it gives you a natural high. So it makes you feel good. So kana siya. So basic really is kana nutrition, exercise, rest, relaxation.
I can do
Proper
that
sleep.
Yeah, proper
siguro, no?
sleep. Yeah.
But
Ay,
diba,
sleep.
like naapay ka na with some mental health na ano na, disorders kay you don't feel like doing any of those. Like di mo feel to take care of yourself, di mo feel to how would you deal with those kinds of cases?
If diagnosed na sila, and usually kanina mga suggestions, so it's given siya to people who are still they can still go on with their natural nalang siguro sila mga roadblocks or challenges. But let's say when you talk about mental health, mga issues na mga diagnosis na jud, it really it's really also important to put in the medicine as well. Okay, sometimes let's say if grabe na gid, like in terms of depression, like major depression, so no matter how you try to structure them or wala gid sila disposition mood to do that, then you have to
ask help na in terms of the medications.
Mm.
So once okay na sila, like they're in the proper mindset na because na-regulate na sa medicine, then that's when you can put in na mga katong mga routines. You can ma-aid na nimo sila, but you have to
Murag open to suggestion na sila after.
yes, oo. So musa na siya ang advantage siya with medicine, especially if grabe na gid na mga cases.
Like super severe na ang
Oo,
depression.
kung severe na jud kaayo.
When should someone go to like a psychiatrist to like get diagnosed or something?
Actually, it's up to you man so no. It's we always bank on man gyud if magsimog any mental health professional. It's really more of the consent na voluntary ka dito na moadto because it works better that way. Pero sometimes if grabe na sa jud ang condition no na murag ang other people see that you're really struggling nga na they can suggest nga na. So some people would still go pero kana in the end it's their life gihapon. So it's really more of their decisions, their accountability, responsibility nga. So in terms of when they should see a psychiatrist, again depending nila if they feel like nana jud to, or sometimes ma-refer siya sa mga counselors na kanang there's this DSM ang god na makita nimo ang mga symptoms na okay for how many weeks you've been doing that. Pero very important ba sad na i-rule out sad nimo ang mga physical na in terms of physical health. Kay sometimes na ay mga let's say changes sa imong physical health that affects your mental health. So kailangan na nimo i-rule out first na dili ba ang kaning mga physical issues ang ni-affect sa imong mental health. So once ma-rule out na siya, that's when you can say na basin kuan gid yung psychological gid ang iyang concerns. Yeah.
I think last.
Huh? I was curious, is there some kind of old school stigma, like culturally for Filipinos, about going to a psychiatrist or a therapist?
I would say that there are really still some, especially sa mga, I would say this kanang sa mga provinces, you know. Karon here sa mga cities, nga na, there, murag ipa-strengthen na gyud in terms of mental health. And ang mga people in the mental health profession have been very active jud in promoting mental health with this kanang ma-stigmatize ang mental health. But there are really areas in the Philippines gihapon na lahi gid gihapon ilahang pagtan-aw in terms of mental health. So when you speak of depression, mo ana gyapon nabuang na siya.
Yeah.
Na gihapon nasa jud gihapon ning ana. So although most especially kani sa cities or sa universities very knowledgeable na, pero dili pa gid siya mo reach sa mga far areas sa Philippines ba. So still need more education gihapon. So muna sige lang gihapon promote awareness.
Tabang po mag-promote.
Yeah.
But could you say na marag better na ang pananaw sa mga tao when it comes to mental health, like when it comes to going to see help?
Yeah, I would say so, and I think there's a clamor for it. It's just that murag ang taas ang clamor, but ang mga people na offer sa services kay fewer jud actually. Limited jud kayo member. We need more help. So muna sometimes we murag naay mga trainings in terms of psychological first aid kay para even if dili ka licensed na mental health professional, you can still help, no? And then from there mo refer na dayon ka. If you feel like mas grabe ang concern, it's already beyond your training in terms of psychological first aid, ingana. So, ma-refer niyo mo siya to the right professional.
Asa na siya pwede ma-avail nga training? Kaya murag kinahanglan na din
YouTube!
Where there are really a lot man, so nasa sa YouTube, nasa yung mga courses, but of course, sa AMUA, like, we can also give that. Pero in terms of certification, yun nga na wala, I don't know if naabagi exact na I think Red Cross does that as well. Naasad sila yung psychological first aid aside from the
actual
physical.
first aid.
Aside sa actual, naasad sila. Yeah, I remember that.
Alright. So
Sige.
we're gonna wrap up. And we have more questions for you in the latter half. So right now, for our viewers, we're gonna
Take a break.
10 minutes? We're gonna take a 10-minute break. We're gonna ask more about psychological first aid.
If you guys have any questions about your mental health,
Please
if you're not
leave
doing well, just send us some comments.
Please, please.
You'll still be able to comment on the video. We're still keeping track. So we'll address your questions in the second half. Our 4 viewers.
Yay!
Wow! Yay!
4 from
All
1 to
right.
4.
Let's take a break.
Bye, guys!
Lingawa aning podcast, uy, pero usahay, gimingaw man ko anang lokal nga Cebuano music. Asa man ko makadungog ana? Pia?
Check out our friends from Pawn Records and Pawn Press, who recently migrated their local goods, music, and literature to online shopping channels Lazada and Shopee.
Lingawa ba sa aning spirals o burbs?
Support your favorite local authors, artists, and musicians. Score their books as well as physical releases. 60% of the profit will go directly to the authors and artists. Don't want to pay online? The good news is you can order these items via COD. So check out shopee.ph/pawnpress and lazada.com.ph/pawn-press now.
I've been looking for a therapist dugay now, but my big concern is what if the therapist is maybe conservative and di ko ganahan og conservative na therapist or kanang even money ang issue. I think it's like I can't afford like a therapist. Unsa man ang mga problems?
Problems, you mean kato na mention if there are outdated practices. So, as I mentioned, somehow we wouldn't know really exactly what goes on behind closed doors because usually counseling sessions are private, no? But as a counselor, we're trained yun na to really, especially karon ang trend is to be culturally sensitive. So that would mean
What? To Filipinos or to other cultures?
Filipinos, to other cultures. But aside from not only that na in terms of culture, but in terms of sa imong gender, asa ka mo identify, in terms of your beliefs, sa imong religion, ingana. So I think muna na siya, mo encompassing na siya when we talk about being a culturally sensitive na counselor because we'll be dealing with different kinds of individuals. So
Like people who like astrology.
yes. So pero hopefully of course di man ko kapin point but hopefully I'm hoping that the counselors right now are really updating their skills. So just recently last May, I think last week, May 19 to 21, we actually had a virtual conference with the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association. So there, nag-update sa mga skills, and sa mga bago, and sa trends also. So, for my end, naman yung mga workshops. So what I attended was more on the family counseling and psychotrauma assessment. So, para at least we, because part also of our license na ma-renew among license is to really attend mga professional development, mga seminars. So hopefully, yung mga counselors will be able to actually apply that one.
Can you give us like an example of something that got updated na short lang? Like
in terms of, let's say, there is a move to actually counselors will specialize.
what does that
Yeah,
mean?
so meaning like example, karon muraming, let's say if we use it in the terms of mga physicians, mura pa may general practitioners, murag wala pa may murag specialties. So karon there is a move na counselors will pursue specialties. So let's say could it be sa school setting? Is it in terms of career good or is it in terms of family therapy? So there is kanang specialization. So there is that move. So kuan na sa mga kasabitan what should we specialize more ngana. But because we're mostly in the school setting ngana. So I think most will go there. Pero karon we're more of mga ngana ba kanang we're dealing with different issues, we're dealing with different topics. But it's also helpful kay we get updated in different areas, especially katong like last year yun when we had the free online counseling na wow, unsa ka niyang issue, no? Marag, what's in store for me today? Marag, na kay lahi-lahi yun siya.
Wow, I say that thing, but with a slightly sadder tone. What's in store for me today?
So, yeah.
Hindi ko excited, Jude.
So, kato like last time, no? So, on my end as a counselor, I have to educate myself good. So, if ang issue was more about emotions, anger, mga nga na. So ako, I have to really brush up, mag-read ko mga articles, journals, yung gana ko, di ba? Journals, gina mong friend, when we sa psychology. So,
And it's like, people say you shouldn't read journals of people.
It's not that
My God, you read my journal?
academic journals.
It's like, you read my academic journal?
I think the journals are the better part compared to the statistical part.
Yeah. You got to just go to the results.
Yes.
May update sa pandemic nga kanang how pandemic setting sa
setting.
inyong mga kuan.
Yeah, because of the pandemic, wala namang gid mga face-to-face karon. So, usually, it's really either audio, phone, mobile, or online. So, naami mga platforms. So, sometimes pwede mag-Zoom or Google Meet, or sometimes through mobile lang. But of course, na siya yung mga limitations because we can't see their kanang mga gestures ba? Unsa sila kung so kami as a counselor, we have to be more careful, or we have to be more attuned sa ilang tone of voice, ingana. And then there are also some na, especially sa some of the students na they don't have a private space at home. Dili sad sila makabisag at least storya. So some would go to chat. So challenging kayo ang chat because walay tone niya, dugay kayo ang exchange ninyo.
Na yung mga student na mag-scene.
No, pero mag-counseling, dugay kayo nag-type siya, taas na di kayo siya gi-type, so ikaw mag-WhatsApp ka. So actually, it becomes longer ba ang inyong But,
Mag-pay ka for an hour niya, 30 minutes yung mo gamit.
dugay kayo ang ang response time, ang pag-chat niya. Sometimes, di ka kayo ba, unsa na iyang tone of voice, ani, na kuan, so flat ra siya ba. So, as much as possible, managi ko if you can at least go on audio. So at least I can hear ba niya, mas paspasad ang among exchange.
Basi mahadlok pud sila kay kana madunggan sila within sa ilang balay.
Mo gina ang concern actually na miss, I can't go on audio kay wala mi quandary madunggan
Private
ra ko.
nga, kasi private nga lugar.
So,
Nasa galingan.
Within the family, ang problem ba?
yeah, kada concern about a family member. So, as much as possible, i-accommodate lang gid gihapon, but we have to be more careful rapod na. Especially, we have to remind them na kana siya basi na ipang screenshot or na remember that this is a private interaction. So,
So like, they're not allowed to have records of your like meetings, ba?
well, pwede man gihapon sila, but usually kami naasad may record on our own. Like, naman gud may separate document for it. So, among mga assessment, unsa may mga plan of action, unsay moving forward, what are unsa mong mga pangbuhat.
Sa inyong sessions wala ra pud mo kanang recording. Like from your end ba?
No.
Dili
But
mo-
if we do, mananghid me.
It's like I'm wearing a wire right now. Like, just so you know.
You have to say that you're a cop, right?
You have to say you're a guidance counselor, right? That's illegal. As a kanang murag, let's say I don't have insurance, but I am like an adult with little means looking for therapy. How much money do you think I should set aside for that, and how much should I expect to kanang spend to find like a therapist for myself? And how do I know if it's the right therapist?
Okay. Actually, right now, I'm familiar with some mga organizations and individuals na nag-offer of somehow socialized na fee. So, not too expensive kay when you, actually, if mugogi kag psychiatrist, they're really very expensive. So, mga one session is around 2,000 to 2,500. That's for mga psychiatrists.
That's an hour?
2,000 to 2,500?
Yeah.
That's an hour, or that's like as long as you want?
An hour maximum. Kay usually when we go counseling, you cannot go beyond 1 hour. Kay beyond 1 hour daw, chika-chika na lang daw na. So, yeah, you have
Is that what we're
kay
doing
1 hour
right now? 30 minutes of chica.
You're better off with our podcast. Speaking of our podcast, we'd like to shout outs sa friend ni Pia. What's
Oy,
his name?
isa na friend.
Hello,
To the
friend.
Di man shoutout yung gingon, shut up man na yung gingon. Shut up, Pia!
Ano to siya?
Nawa lagi.
I think yung delete yung comment. And there's Ray who says, Hans, grabe ka kasyofa sa atong humega. Oh, it's your friend! Oh my God!
Ano man gitag ka?
Ray, blooming flower! Who else is here? Oh my God, another friend!
What's the friend's name?
Hans!
Hans and Rainier.
Oy, hi. Thank you for listening.
Please send us your questions.
K-pop friends.
May ganon.
From years ago, but we're still friends until now.
Yeah! Like, Miss Jess looks really pretty right now.
Di lagi Miss Jazz lagi.
Jazz.
Just jazz.
Who else is here? Anna's also
Uy,
here. Hey,
lang, nakamata siya. Hello.
She sent you a wave.
Di ko online kay nag-monitor ko sa camera.
Can you see Ernest's shirt? He's so well
He
kept.
bought a new shirt.
Yeah, just for this. They're the Aloha group.
Yeah.
Come here, ni Jazz. May taro.
Totally interrupted Jazz's explanation.
I'm sorry. Who else should we acknowledge? Oh, si Nika po. Nika.
Hi.
Thanks for
Hi.
listening.
Yeah.
Now you have
Wala
to
sila
say.
questions. Hato mo questions,
Yeah, guys.
Naman, puro shoutout naman.
If not my questions, undangin na mga shout. Questions
Di
for
mo niit
guys.
bulaga.
Binibulagaan.
Oh, bitaw, let's
Uy,
get
back to the
back
matter
to
at
the
hand.
topic. Okay.
Okay, since like you were talking. Oh, sorry.
like-
Since you were talking.
How do you find kanang a therapist for you, and how much do I have to spend kanang
Yeah.
on a therapist?
So as
2 to 5.
earlier I mentioned about psychiatrists, no, so it's around kana na range 2,000 to 2,500 per session, I think. But naa sa mga individuals and organizations na nag-offer socialized fee. So there are some na I think I don't know if the same pa ba ang rate ni mag-mention ba ko niya? So, secret na lang. But
Wow.
maybe later
Endorse
on,
na lang sila.
mga issue ko. But it can go as low as 700. Or,
Whoa.
I know of those.
That's a student fee?
yes. But they really offer. Nasa nga
Okay.
700.
And then that's an hour again.
yeah, one session. So, medyo affordable. Nasa Juduman. And then, I think Philippine Mental Health Association, Cebu, also offers some socialized fee. So, I don't know exactly kung how much because it actually depends also. Okay, they're actually a group of individuals and even psychiatrists. So, you can just message them on their Facebook.
But how do I find the unsa man jud ang psychologist or therapist who is right for me as a person?
If money wasn't like an issue.
Let's say that it's 700 per session and I spend 700 each session just like trying them out. And then how do I know unsa man jud ang saktong therapist for me?
Kung nakaspenda ka, I think nakaibawra ka.
It's like last na ni. I can't just keep explaining myself to all these people until they go, here's the problem.
Is there a directory of therapists available?
For me personally, I have linkages.
Oh.
So, if you know someone, pwede ka mo ask like how kanang who's the right psychologist for me? Who can I go to? What can you say about this person? Yung ana. But we don't know everyone. But what I know is that of course we bank on their look at their credentials then because that also helps man sa identifying. So like are they licensed? Yung ana. So be careful kay some people will say na they're a coach yung ana, but of course dili pa sila licensed. So if you really want someone good, check if they're licensed.
Kanang life coach.
Life
may na.
coaches are not.
Be careful lang eh.
Kanang usually kay dagko na sila glawas na.
Motivational
I think
speaker.
you have to move your bed.
Oh my god, I hate motivational speakers and life coaches.
Life coach or relationship coach, wag yun na sila.
Well,
You
you
don't
might
need
have
a-
some experience, pero if you really want na
Check the
look for-
license,
Yeah,
eh.
check lang the license.
Check the
Because
label.
of course, if you're
Check the label,
licensed,
mommies.
well, because if they're licensed, you nakaihabol nila. Because they're required to really uphold the profession, ang etiquette, ang ethics, and everything about it ba. So, if feel ni mo na malpractice, pwede ni mo sila mag-go after.
Mareklamo.
O, ingana ba. So, hopefully wala, no? Pero, kana siya, naa siya yung mga ethics, and then you know, you're confident po ba because they have the credentials.
So, I think sa imong gisulti karon nakuha na ako nga. Mas maayo siguro if mo speak sa sila with a counselor. Like if namoy masuggest. O sa siya mo move up
Instead
to
of-
kanang instead of is try out nimo tanan nimo.
Yeah.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yes. So actually we have that's actually part of psychological first aid, no? Actually that's the last part of psychological first aid, linking. So you link them to the proper professionals. So example, if you're an RN, pwede man mo go to a counselor na miss kanang
I want to go to therapy or I want to see a psychiatrist. Do you have any recommendations? So we can facilitate that.
How about for non-studying people? Like people who don't have access to counselors.
Pwede na ba ang alumni mo to sa UP? And then
We can assist, Jud. But I think as counselors, it's our role, it's our duty, it's our responsibility to be able to assist. Regardless if kung siya, student siya, or dili.
Maybe can we ask you, Miss Jazz?
Sure.
We're like in front of in front of people.
Under duress man siya, right?
That's how we get her, you know.
it's like, what are you gonna say?
No. Are you gonna say no in front of our 3 viewers?
Because my brother is like, naglasal man lang siya. And then, free na daw gihapon ng counseling sa kanang mga, alumni. So he keeps coming back there gihapon.
Actually, last year, naaman to yung session because katunay what happened sa UP like a year ago.
What?
And then we had some alumni na part of that, the rally. So we actually had we actually had debriefing
Yeah,
session.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
And some
It's
people
for
never
free.
took that.
Yeah.
You mean the 2 people who were there?
Yeah. Never took the
Unsa na?
opportunity to have
Nasa like free
debriefing.
counseling?
Debriefing,
Yeah,
like what's a
debriefing
debriefing, man?
session.
Like
So,
how would you?
usually debriefing sessions are done like after a certain
Traumatic
event
na,
or
incident.
event. So it's not really necessary for everyone. Not everyone needs to go through that. But if you feel like you have to process it, then you can avail of that.
I think like napay question na kanang we keep saying the word process, but like you say you need time to process that, and then some people would ask na what's nang process? What's pag process? Like what does that mean?
I think it's more of coming into terms with what you're feeling, with your emotions, with what happened. So usually we usually ask what happened before, what happened during, and what happened after. So kana lang. So bringing awareness lang to the event. So what happened before that certain event? What were you feeling? What was happening? Can you just recall? And then during. So what was happening during? How did you feel during the event? And then after, how was it? Who are the people who helped you? How are you doing so far? Is there any help that you might need? So something
So, mga pila total inyo na kuanad to, na process ka? Or pwede ba mo musulti?
Maybe a number was, I think, mga around 20 siguro.
Kaya
we had actually different groups. Kaya we had to break it down, manggod. Kaya depende siya nag-sign up. I'm not sure if it's around ingana siguro, 20 to 25. And then we also catered to other students from other schools. Kaya actually naman, it's not only purely UP man to, na may other. So we actually accommodated and those students had.
If na yung mga kanang state forces nga ni apply at yung po entertain ka lang for debriefing.
Individual ba ang debriefing or like
actually it was a per group kay we had to but amo silang kay naman gud tay mga screening questions. So were you there? Were you part of it? Were you or were you just at home? So we had to group them depending sa ilahang asa sila. So if they were really part of the protest, so kani sila na group. But if naara sila sa balay or kan, but it affected them, nasa ni siya na group.
Pwede ra day.
Yes.
Kano sana siya nigawas murag wa lagi ko
after- Oh no, there was a call for it.
There was nato siya yung sign-up sheet actually.
Yeah. I remember because our friend who was there, I mean, actually, our other friend who was there, yeah, she invited our friend to join the sign, to write up in the sign-up sheet, and like there were 2 batches apparently.
Yeah, actually there were morning batches, but there were many groups. So there were I think 2 sessions that I handled, and some other also handled other sessions. But it was actually a group effort. Kay it was alumni, also mga psych alumni. Yeah, psych alumni.
That would have been so weird.
We even asked naman yung mga lawyer na mga alumni said. So kay para lang sa nami marag kanang legal perspective lang po on things.
It was amazing because it was such a community effort at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people stood up for the students in
Yeah.
UP Cebu.
Yeah.
Like there were people who sent over like Jollibee packages, water during the event, and then there was that like kanang the post na like dealing with the trauma. So like Cebuanas care about their protesters sometimes.
Yay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but there was really a pouring of support at that time.
Pero sadly, so to really accord wag hapon.
Guba Japan.
I have a question. Since like namay ka ng like how to find like a right therapist. I think napoy question na, like how does therapy work? Like when I get to a therapist session, what do I do and like what unsay expected of me nana?
Para less afraid po ng mga tao nga makuan.
So actually, when you start with the therapy or a session, there's usually an initial intake, meaning they will get your details. So, kanana they will check your background, your age, family, and so when you get there, it's not directly about going to your concerns. It's just like first pa lang na ninyo na session, no? Trying to get to know. But then, of course, the counselor would ask, what's your most urgent concern? So, how can I help you? So, usually, it's really my first, So, how can I help you? What's your concern? So, usually, it's a very big question, but because you're the client, so you know exactly what's your main concern. So, you can get more specific about it. So, it's really more of telling about your concerns. So, and us will just be taking down notes, listening, and then we'll see which part of your sharing can we have some mga inputs, questions. Really more of clarifying din na siya at that stage. Clarifying. So,
Speaking of questions, not a questions, wag hapon.
Still 5
Jazz's
viewers.
friend says, Ray, question daw, uy, ingna nagunsa mo. Nagunsa bitaw ta, what are we doing?
We're trying to get free therapy.
Trying to share the free therapy to everyone.
That's very interesting. So my mom.
Nga na jud mo go back to like so unsa may relationship with your parents?
Bitaw tinuod ba na?
Bitaw,
Or
what is
trope na
that?
siya sa salid.
somehow it has actually it depends on your counseling technique or counseling theory because there are some issues na very focused in the now. So it depends kung asa kalining. Namang some would go to kanang like when you go about nila Freud, when we talk about unsa gali na ang ka Freud na school of thought.
The
Psychoanalytic,
Psychosexual?
I think. Wala siya. Parang mga psychosexual stages, yung ano. So, some would go back, pero it depends yun siya kung you as a counselor, unsa imuhang, you have to be, you have also to identify unsa man imuhang strength na counseling theory technique. So, usually mine is more of reality, therapy, or mga solution-focused or CBT. More of
CBT!
cognitive.
Yes.
Cognitive
Which
behavioral.
CBT are we talking?
Cognitive
Is this the drug
behavioral.
CBT?
So, but usually, it really depends, no? Because naaman sa yung mga instances na there is trauma, and usually when we talk about trauma, it really is, it will really bring you back to the past, no? Mga triggers, ingana. But it depends kung unsa ang concern sa present niya. So if it's more of dealing with a certain issue, so we focus more of kana mga solution focus na kanang what can be done immediately. So usually kana mga solution focus, mga CBT medyo mas dali na siya mahuman compared to kanang ka Freud na mga psychoanalytic approach na murag it really runs very long kay you have to more of uncovering manggod siya the unconscious. So kana siya would really daghan kay na siya.
Balik pa sa mga histories.
Balik gid ka go sa imong past.
I forgot someone called that a method. What was that method? Na kanang mo balik-balik lang ka until you just keep asking
Assassin's
why.
Creed.
Feel na ako kay mo jud na like I think sa mga mental health na institutions here sa Cebu like kana jud na yung focus like kanang now. Pero compared to like kanang sa Western media gani kay it's always like that Freudian thing na kanang your relationship with your parents like unsa imong mga traumatic experiences like nana.
As a child.
Yeah. Like how it affects now.
Pero I think, but yeah, there are different strengths man gyud sa approaches. Ingan. So it really depends sa counselor no kung ganahan siya mo go to. But in terms, I think sa mga movies, I think muna siya ang ma-highlight because it's more kanang
Mas dramatic.
mas
siya
dramatic
dating.
ka na. Mas kwan siya, mas like, oh, kaya nang interesting siya. Because when you go to the counseling, sometimes, if you go to kind of the reality or kind of, it's just throwing questions, asking, so murag somehow more siya boring if in a cinematic or in a kuan na view, di ba? But when you
note guys, kung hindi na siya tinuod. It doesn't happen in real life. Okay.
Well, it's possible if you, pero there is a Philippines, dili kaayo into that. I think kay you need to go more practice magod when you go psychoanalytic kay ikaw mismo as a counselor you have to go through that before ka mo actually do that side and that itself takes long
You guys
magpa-certify
don't
ka.
do where the patients like
Lie down
lies down on the bed.
So, we need to have more training actually on
And
that.
the psychologist is usually like drawing something. Bad lang.
Yeah. Pero nasa iba
Pero
na
na may
very
couch
confident.
wala.
We have couches.
Ay, nice.
Well, very important good is the your space food actually. So actually if counseling me as much as possible, it's really an open there are no barriers. So walay table. So kanang di ba naman sometimes when you go to I don't know if ang usual setting sa mga schools na diri ang counselor then there's a table then there's a student. So, actually, it's a no-no. So, dapat na ay open good na kan. So, dapat mag-face-to-face mo. Nga na, no barriers in between. Bisan physical.
So
Okay,
that's
natin karon.
different na Jud when it comes to pandemic because dapat,
Dapat digin mo face-to-face.
you can't face-to-face.
Yeah. So, daghang yung changes with the pandemic karon. Pero, kailangan mo adjust to be able to give
At least
access.
give that kind of help.
Speaking of media ba, like kanang psychology in media, unsa man mga kanang I think like dili po like generally put unsa mga pinaka harmful nga myths na people think about psychology or like kanang counseling?
Personally, I really get discouraged like as a counselor, sometimes ma-depict ang mga counselors sa series or sa movies as someone na nasa siya yung mga napagka-OC or maldita ang counselor. Yung nga na like, I don't know if familiar mo sa 13 Reasons Why, but di ba na-appeal ba ya ang counselor sa dito, di ba? Na-appeal siya sa katong tapes or something.
People say it sucks kay it dramatizes suicide.
And then, I think sa Glee sad, di ba? Katong ang counselor sa OCD. So,
si Jema Mays, si Miss, who had a crush on Mr. Schuster.
Yeah. So, kind of, somehow it's harmful. Kaya, people think na, counselors are like this, but, di mo nga so, I think it's harmful because it's watched by many. Sad, and somehow, ma-stigmatize na among field. So, I think...
What about Hannibal? Was that, like, bad for counselors?
I haven't watched that.
Kanon ka sa imong psychologist.
Bito, iya gigamit ang kanang like iya gi-judge ang mga people na iya patients and then if they're bad people kaya kaunon.
And I think kana sa Suicide Squad also na di ba si
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, di ba kay psychologist man siya ni Joker. Yeah, and then naka-develop sila relationship. Which is a no-no, okay? We're not supposed to have dual relationships. So, we're not allowed to have relationships with our clients.
Nice.
Nga na ba?
But patients have a tendency to fall in love with their psychologist.
Yeah, so dapat ikaw, if that happens na, you have to be careful about it.
Have you ever tried that?
Of course,
You're on
she's
the
gonna
spot
tell
like
us. But what if guwapo siya?
Bito, dili din ka nang pina-Tinder ba na my next patient is
It's like
bawal
mommy
dyan siya.
issues. Like,
No. Well, of course, you have to recognize na naman tawagan na transparent. So, let's say, they see you as that, as a significant person in your life. So, kami said, but there is also a term actually, if ang ang counselor said itself, may murag mag-trans. So, naitawag na counter-transference. So, kami ang project sa mga needs. So, we have to be careful na when that comes in. So, if you feel like dili na siya healthy for both
I
of
have a
you,
question.
terminate na lang.
Smile.
Or i-refer to another counselor.
I have a question. Like, how close are you allowed to be with your patient? Can you add your patient on Facebook?
As much as possible, no dual relationships while that person is your client.
Can we say hi to you guys in the grocery store? I'm like,
You can say hi.
where are you? Where are you going? You wanna come with us?
So actually,
It's like, you're here again. Told you not to go here.
So yeah, when we had the counseling session, so we asked them to reach through us through Facebook. Okay, it's the more accessible man platform. But we emphasize no need to send friend requests. Just message us on Facebook.
Hindi siya.
Yeah,
At
so
least nga ka ng upfront na mo diretso.
yeah, we had to.
So there's a distance, Jude.
Yeah.
So, di na po mo send og friend request.
Oh, sorry.
He's not our therapist yet. That's very presumptuous.
So we really have to set boundaries. Yeah. So even with the students, even with the time actually, so I'm available 8 to 5 p.m. So I might not be able to reply to you beyond 5. So we have to be upfront. Okay, they might expect us to be online all the time, to answer them all the time. So we really have to let them know because we're also humans.
Do they reach out to you after hours?
Yeah, do you have a business Facebook or kanang murag friend Facebook?
I actually have a Facebook for that. A separate one. So which I don't post personal stuff.
Wala ang imong mga young photos.
Yeah. I have a separate Facebook. So you just used to contact this Facebook.
It's all just mga graduation photo nimo. It's imong license.
So they won't be able to check. They wouldn't know about what's going on in my personal life. So this is really a separate account.
I'm a bit concerned because I have a therapist and I'm friends with her and she looks at my stories all the time.
It's very easy to look at stories. It's just like, it's
Moagi man gud na
it's
sa
tiny
tanan.
again. It's just like,
Sometimes she hearts it, my good. And it's just that sometimes I'm
okay.
concerned, but like if she sees me doing a lot of there's just some drinking involved.
But actually it depends because sometimes when you're friends with them, you also because right now it's difficult, Manggod, because it's online or it's not face to face, so you don't see them personally. So somehow one way to check in on the clients is to check on them remotely, which is their posts, how are they doing. So that's
Like, himuha ni mo ka ng profile. Profile.
So the therapist can do that, but I can't. What about you? What are you doing, therapist?
Kana yung therapist na mag-follow sa may Twitter. I was like, oh no, my meltdowns.
Twitter kay opposite mo na siya sa mental health. Good.
And then they'll just put you, but what about your post? Kada last week. Sama na ni mo.
Murag si San Pedro. Ano na magibuhat sa imong life?
I think this is a good opportunity to ask what we can do to help our friends, since dili man nita nan access to therapists. What can friends do for each other?
Okay. So I think right now, because we're all physical distancing, sometimes we have to look or check on remotely. So try to check their behaviors on social media. So it's either they're too active or nikalit lang sila disappear. So or let's say before, sige silang post, karon kay quiet kay sila or something. So it could be a telltale sign. So
Of what?
maybe they're going through something. So maybe you can just ask them. But if they're not yet, maybe
What
just,
if I
hey, how are
realize,
you?
I haven't been posting. It's like, maybe I am going through something right now.
So it's really just more of if there's something unusual. So let's say if usually kanina person, ngani na gini siya, very quiet. Ngana. Pero let's say, totally opposite. Let's say very upbeat, very outgoing.
Mas mo share na siya.
And then suddenly kay wala na, disappear siya kalit. There's no more participation, involvement. So just try to check in. Hey, I've noticed na you've not been very active on social media. How are you doing? So lang.
But what if Gage ka active in the beginning?
I feel like I'm the opposite because if my mental health is going down, I'll be like, I'm posting everywhere. I was like, all my thoughts.
So it's really more of, ang i-check is the unusual behavior. This is not their usual behavior. So, maybe it's a sign that there's something. It could be, lang.
Kung amigo mo, kahibaw, gid mo sa usual behavior nila, di ba?
Oh, do you want to know Ernest? He always goes live and plays music whenever he's feeling down. And that's why I say,
That's new.
are you okay,
I wonder
buddy?
who he's fighting right now. But But sometimes you just want to turn over a new leaf. It's like, today I'm gonna start talking to people again. And then people will
Are
be
you
like,
okay? Is there anything wrong?
alright,
Makoncern na nun.
it's fine.
So after the how are you and someone ang imo like kanang psychological first
First
aid,
aid,
like
yeah.
na? Is
So
that like
as
friend to friend or
civilians-
like
I think that's the first one actually, psychological first aid. Look, there are three steps. Look, listen, and link.
Oh.
Yes, very easy to remember, right? Look, listen, and link.
The link part is where the counselor comes
Yes,
in.
you,
Ma-share
you
ka
link them.
YouTube ng video.
So look,
like share and subscribe?
Smash that look, listen, and link.
So yeah, that's the first one. That's how you look remotely. Because if face to face, actually, you can check how are they doing. So usually, if it's psychological first aid, you give them their basic needs probably. What are their, especially if this is face to face, if are they thirsty, make sure that they're safe, they're in a safe location. You have to secure that first because lain sa kayo magstorya mo niya na pa yung mga hazards along the way, so dili siya kanang very safe, so you have to put them in a safe location, private, and then that's when you can start listening, so you can try asking them. But if they're not yet ready to talk about that, then you don't have to force them, you can just sit there. Okay, just make sure that or let them know, let's say, "Oy, how are you doing?" and something, and let's say if dili pa sila ready mo talk, let's say mo reply sila na talk niya ako soon. So, but assure them, respect their decision, but assure them that, okay, if in case you need to talk, you know that I'm here, right? So, just assure them that you're there. And then, lastly is, you can link them. If you need a professional, I can link you, I can refer you to a professional, like that. So, let's say if they do share, then just allow them to share. Maybe ask questions, what facilitates really mga open-ended questions, mga what, how, what and how questions.
Dili kanang na may recent nga criticism na kanang mo share ka and then ang other person mo share pod sa iya.
That's
So, like,
actually a no-no.
oh, it's a no.
Yeah.
Kaya bitaw, ako gani.
That's counter-disclosure. Yeah,
what
so
yung term?
example, nag-share ka, yung mo share sad ka, yung mo sure.
It's like, it's my story.
So that's actually counter-disclosure, which is a no-no. And then
So what should the friend do? Like when someone opens up?
so ask facilitating questions, katong what and how. So how did that make you feel? What happened? Can you share more about it? So something like that. More of open-ended questions.
Do we need to be licensed to be able to go? And what do you think is the worst thing that
Again, be careful with that
Do
question.
we need to be RGC for that? And what's the worst that could happen?
Well, psychological first aid is more of just allowing them to share. Lansa for the meantime. We'll just let them share, and then ask them, what kind of help do you need? So, is there any help that you might still need? Do you need?
If it's money, what the hell do I do?
money ba dyan ang like kanang answer to like if you had more money, this would not be a problem. Probably.
What? You just need 1,000?
Especially in this pandemic, you need to eat.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
need-
Skyflix did it.
You need vaccines.
Pero as a friend, you can't enroll someone in a session man, di ba? Sa kanang murag intervention ni mo siya ba?
No, hopefully it's really voluntary. You can suggest it to them, and somehow even if hesitant sila but they're willing to go, then that's a good sign at least.
Are
Kahit assistant.
interventions like a good idea? Though?
Is it legal to?
To be like, we want to intervene.
Erna, stop
your
drinking.
Surprise! Naimabot nga mga psychiatrist.
They're all RGC. Tapos mag-party clown. Ano sila? Wow, next one. Specializes in depression.
Well, if it's really well-meaning, you can, as a friend, you can give feedback. Said, of course, you have to give it in a way na you feel like dili sad siya ma-reject, dili sad siya like against him. Like more of when we give feedback or something, it's not really about the person but about the act. So kana siya. So there's actually this one on there nakikitawag na non-violent communication, which is actually a
There's a book on that,
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? What is
non-violent communication is where it's a 4-part like medyo long siya. No? First is you state your observation. So, I noticed or every time. But you use I, mga I statements instead of you. Every time you. So, di ba merg na ka siya. So, you own it. Okay, you're the one communicating man. So, your observation. Let's say, very simple. Let's say ka ng mga dishes. No? Let's say na may problem with washing dishes. No, I'm not just giving example.
Okay, now I am conscious. Shit. Fine, alright.
Okay, so like example, ang first is your observation. So every time I see that the dishes are not washed, then you go to your feelings. I feel annoyed. I feel something like that. Because then third is your need. So what's your need? Because I have the need that everything is in place, everything is organized. So the last part is your request. So could you, is it possible that you can help me out with the household chores? Like that. So it's really state the observation, then your feeling, then what's your need behind that feeling? Why is there, because usually your feelings, your reactions, there's a need behind that, manggod, na wala na need. So you have to communicate that need to your partner or to your friend. And then lastly, your request.
Sige, gamitin na ito. Sunod
Bitaw.
gamitin na.
Bitaw, guys.
Sa to, make note. O sa itong tulo?
Koan? Observation, feeling, need,
then
o...
request.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sige.
Sige.
Non-violent
Yeah,
communication.
7 viewers. Yeah, dick. What are they saying now?
Nothing much.
Nothing much.
You know.
Bino.
Oh yeah, we have new viewers. We have Bin. Hi, Bin.
Hi, Bin.
She says that she's gonna send us cookies.
Yay!
Thanks. And then we also have Maricar Aguilos.
Oh my God. Hi,
Yes,
Mom.
So, while where have you?
No!
Oh, someone says, hi, Tasagin. And this is Joshua.
Hi,
Hi,
Tasso
Doc.
gang. Hi, Doc.
Yeah.
Teka na din mo, friends. Thank you, friends.
It's Joshua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Di ba
How much time do we have?
I think we have one more topic siguro.
Oh.
Pang last lang before closing.
Okay.
Namay makunahulaan.
Like, I don't know.
I think I mentioned my mom like 5 times.
Freud would be proud, babe.
What are the no-nos you should
yeah.
like avoid sa imong first aid na therapy?
What do you mean, like the psychological or in my
Like
practice?
kami,
sa
if
counseling?
mag-first aid me as civilian sa among friends, like what should we not
Like other no-nos.
Yeah.
Okay. So, no-nos really is to, let's say, if you're not sure or you're unsure of how, let's say, sa imong suggestion or sa imong advice, then avoid that lang because mo ginaang among principle is to do no harm. So if you feel like lacking among training, lacking among expertise, then
More
ayaw
harm
na
than
lang.
good.
Yeah. So if dili ka sure, then ayun, like say example mga information. Let's say mag-ask information and sometimes kita natin need to assist that. So if you don't know, then just be honest. Say na, oh, I don't know, but let me find it out for you. Or let's say, let me refer you. I think this person can answer you better on that. So kana.
Hindi ta mag-assume og like nakibauta sa...
Okay, we might do more harm than good and
What's the worst that can happen?
Ikaw mag-ingon sa myself ba? What's the worst that could happen?
So ni-grow gito sa podcast kay nikuha ang kita expert to speak on these things kay usually kami ra magbuot-buot.
I saw a post there na murag, me and my friends just kind of do amateur therapy on each other and guess what our conditions are. And I think that's what we do with each other. We'll be like, hey Ernest, look. And then mag-listen ta na, ano may problema nimo? And then we'll just like request na, maybe you should stop being an asshole.
Di lagi mag-you statements lagi. I lang. I
would-
get hurt when you are an asshole.
I get hurt when I don't get approval. But at the same time, when you show me approval, I get suspicious. I request you to fix this. I don't know how, but I please need it.
Kanang gipangbuak na to ang kanang gipanghatag nga concrete nga kon. Help.
I'm testing it out. Sorry, I just got that advice like a few minutes ago.
I have a very kanang dili kayo. Well, I think it's like not very kanang dili siya consequential kaya like what's your favorite like kanang psychological nga kanang phenomenon or something Something you observe or like it's something na theoretical lang.
Or a new thing.
Okay. Oh wait, like in like what goes on lang with, especially with the clients.
Yeah,
something
or like
that.
just like anything
What
lang.
amazes you about your job?
Well, usually it's really sometimes the clients really realizing na, oh, that there's another perspective on things. Because sometimes, as I mentioned, they're too caught up in their mga issues, so they do not see the other perspective of things. So I think what's interesting is when I actually mentioned about another perspective, they were like, oh. So something like, oh, I didn't think about that, or that did not come into play. And usually, I myself, I also get amazed. Huh? Okay. Is that me? Huh?
I did that.
Just don't show it to the client.
Yes.
Like, no, ito, no.
So yeah, so it's like that. And really, di ba na mentioned earlier, so, about going back to your childhood, but actually, there is really some impact, your childhood or your past events to your present ones. And especially, I had this recent client mentioning about getting, she's starting to have nightmares again and becoming, she can't sleep well. And so I really asked her what were the changes in her pattern. And then eventually we began talking about her family. And then parang somehow with a recent change, it was similar to a past situation that she had. So probably that's why na-trigger na sa to ng mga emotions. Nga na. So naagyod actually man, your past events, your family. Kaya very important ba ang family because that's where you grew up. Naman yung first encounter with the world before you met classmates. Nga na. So, and sometimes they are very, of course, naagid sila yung mga values na ipang impart sa imuha. And it really impact greatly yun. Ang family dynamics. Dako gid kay siya impact to a person.
Can I drink like what you thought was small childhood ni mo na kaan? Or like especially sa parenting na kanang gamay ni mga thing na you thought it was very inconsequential.
Yeah.
Kay mga children day kay like they'll remember it for their whole lives.
Maybe we should just never be parents.
Actually anti-parent.
Actually,
Yeah,
family
maybe.
is
Jesus.
And with that very bad advice, I think we'll wrap up the time.
Okay. Let's
Thank you
wrap
so
up.
much, Miss Jazz.
Thank you, Miss Jazz.
Thank you so much for inviting. I had fun.
You're like a personal Dolomite.
For mental health.
Dolomite.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Thank you
Salamat
also.
sa mga nagtanaw po.
Thank you.
7 viewers, that's the most we have.
Tuloy na to.
All right.
Ito, what's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
Bye guys.
Bye.
Next week na po.
Thank you.